Good morning. Thanks for joining us. This is Kristen's fault, if anybody wants to know.
Sorry.
No, this is a good thing. So what we're talking about today is buyer sellers checklists and then email templates throughout the process. And I kind of thought about just opening it up to us as a group and just kind of big picture, let's chat about maybe the benefits of having a checklist and those email templates. Anybody?
We don't know what you're talking about yet.
Well, you know what a checklist is? What's the benefit of having a checklist? Does anybody have email templates that they use?
I used to. I pinched one off you once, one buyer under contract. But I find everything. I probably need to make it more my own. But by the time I've personalized it, because I like to do it individual to each client, because I'm not like crazy busy like you guys. I just have a couple at a time.
Well, and so all of these templates are just exactly that. They're a framework with blank spaces, so you can customize it to the specific dates and deadlines, the specifics of the actual unit or property. So they're templated in a form to simplify it. So I'd say number one benefit is simplification. If we already have the templates put together and we go under contract or pre-contract, we already kind of understand, maybe the order that I send out those templates, but also it reminds me of, I'm gonna throw it out there. What happens if we get in trouble? If you get in trouble, we get in trouble, right?
Right.
So really more so this ensures that we're communicating everything appropriately. Consumer protection is our number one priority. And what happens when a buyer says, "Oh, you didn't tell me to get a home inspection."
Survey.
Right. You didn't tell me to get a survey. You didn't tell me this. You didn't tell me that it was important to review my title documents.
I didn't know what to look for. We don't really know what to look for. I'll be honest.
So what's the result when you get the complaint? What does the state do?
Don't they fine you?
They'll audit you first. They'll find out if it's true or not. So then you have to prove whether or not you did tell them about the inspection. You did tell them to get the sewer line checked. And if you can prove that you did, you're not in trouble. If you can't prove that you did, we're all in trouble.
Does it presume you've read the contract?
No.
Signed it?
Yeah. Well, you would hope that you could presume that, but it doesn't work like that, unfortunately, with the state.
Well, I know in the real world, they don't read it, but the reality is the contract does count for something, and it did say to do this.
It did include.
If I neglected to say it, I would think the comeback would be, you're the one that signed this contract agreeing to do this, and you didn't read it.
Well, so that's kind of what's nice about this. So these templates are both CYA, but also additionally informative. We all know that 99% of our people don't read the contract. It's 20 something pages and probably overwhelming for most of us when we first started. It being sometimes their first time or a long time since they've done this, us sending these emails only reaffirms and keeps them up to date on what's actually transpiring and taking place during the transaction.
Right.
Everybody give Brittany a big thank you, round of applause. She's the one that put together these templates and checklists.
Oh,
Thank
you.
Great job.
Right. So if you don't like them,
It's
remember,
my fault.
Well, and I think one of the
make your own.
what was that, Kristen?
too about, and Brittany and Jared, about these templates and Chime, and is that there's a place for you to be able to put them in. And then when you're emailing your client, you can just select the template and then edit it.
Yeah, so you could set up these templates in your email templates through Chime to where they're already pre-templated, and then you can adjust them. I think that's a great idea, Kristen, because you could put together a whole buyer's template section, a whole seller's template section.
Yeah.
And so what I'll also do is I'll share this in a Google Docs to where you can have this actually in your computer and save this to where you can copy, paste, and pull it out as you need and want. You could print the checklist as often as you want and use it if you like. You're a paper person, which I'm not. So I'd say number one benefit is obviously streamlining and making it easy for you. Number two benefit, and it's probably right up there with number one, is really just CYA covering our ass, ensuring that we're keeping them up to speed on where we're at in the transaction, what's next and what's coming.
Mhm.
I think the biggest thing is the fact that it's good customer service. I
Mm.
mean,
I like that.
I don't tell them that as much to protect myself as the fact that if I don't do it, they're likely to be confused, the deal's gonna get screwed up, and they're going to be unhappy. So,
Mm. And they don't know they don't know how hard we're working if they don't see. It's a good way of providing value, because if we're keeping them, I like to tell them what's coming up, where we're at and what's coming up fairly regularly, because then they realize that we're not just silent in the background, we are actually working for them behind the scenes.
You're
Right.
proactively supporting
Mm.
them through the process. Right.
And how many times do you get past inspection? You have a 45-day close and then you didn't talk to your clients for 3 weeks because you're waiting on appraisals and other things that don't necessarily involve you, but you should remain
That's never
involved.
happened.
But it could.
It could. This is too
Oh, it
insurance.
did.
It doesn't.
Right.
well,
You know,
I think she has a point there that if, when you're really super busy and if you had 6 deals going, you could ultimately let things fall through the crack that you didn't, you assume the other people know because we know, we think everybody knows what we know,
Mhm.
and they know we're doing something, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, they've assumed that you're right, Cece, that they just think you didn't do anything.
Right, where you been?
Mhm.
You're right. Well, you know, and here's the thing is, you know, some of these steps might be simple to nothing for us, appraisal being one of them. If we're on the buy side, we usually don't even hear when it got scheduled, let alone when it was completed. So sometimes if we're not in that element, or asking the lender or asking the agent, the other seller's agent, you know, hey, have you been notified about the appraisal? When's it taking place? You know, we sometimes could just breeze right through the process and not keep up to speed with it. We could breeze through title docs and never review or share them. There's a lot of things that we could be breezing through. We could miss HOA doc delivery if we don't ensure that they get delivered. So a lot of this isn't just, you know, ensuring that they know, it's also ensuring that we're on top of it all as well. I like the customer service piece, Bobby.
Thanks.
Service first.
Well, if you want to get invited back,
Or referrals.
for a
Service.
referral or anything else, that's, I want the buyer to go away saying, it was smooth for me. I knew what was going to happen. I knew what I was supposed to do. I knew what they were going to do. I knew what things happened and when they happened, and she was always on top of it. And it's just a habit of mine. And so I don't know that this is actually going to end up being a success story, but the commercial deal that I shouldn't be involved in, but am anyway, the head guy on that was telling his friend that he really liked working with me, despite the fact that I'm not a commercial agent, because I stay on top of things and I always communicate with them exactly when I know something, they know something.
Right.
So, yeah, I think your checklist, and here's the nice thing about the checklist, is it keeps you on target. You can look through there and go, oh, did I remember to do this? Did I call them and let them know that? So,
Right.
no, I think it's invaluable to have those checklists, because if you are doing multiple deals, you tend to forget. Did I already call them and tell them that? Or maybe it's just my age, but.
No, well, I mean, even when we have one, it's tough to keep track. I mean, you know, I think, and we all stay organized a little bit differently. I'm definitely not a paper person. I'm a digital person. Everything I do is online. But Britt, on the other hand, is a paper person, to where all of her files are printed, checklists are done. You know, so there's no right or wrong way. I think what we want to just ensure is that everybody has at least a way. I'm going to share my screen real quick.
I use my iCal on my laptop and color code each client. That really helps.
Buyers or sellers checklist first.
I like that, Cece.
I'll do sellers. So sellers checklist and email templates. Here is what it would be: a pre-listing checklist, comparables, exclusive right, definition of working relationship, seller net sheets, pre-photo checklists, photo shoot scheduling, lockbox, yard signs, MLS inputs, marketing materials.
Jared,
Yes, ma'am.
didn't they change the law on, we don't have to do the the, back it up a minute. I can't remember what I was talking about. The definitions. We don't do the definitions anymore.
We don't have to, but it's one of those other things that if we, so here's the thing, Janelle won't get after you if you do it, but most all of us are used to doing it. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying if you've been doing it, keep doing it. If you don't want to do it, we're not going to harp on you.
Okay,
You
well,
won't-
because the commission isn't asking for it anymore.
No, and you won't get in trouble for having it, and you definitely would probably help if you did. So you're right, Bobby. It's not actually required, but for me, it's just, unfortunately, it's habit. I've been doing it for 10 years. So here's basically just a pre-listing checklist. It's everything that we would want to know, as far as what we would want to do before we've actually listed the property. Next one would be a under contract checklist. Changing the MLS status. I mean, this has some of the smaller things that we have to remember. Ensure the client contact info is shared with the title company. Send property disclosures. Submit your under contract form. I'm going to fix this real quick.
We could probably do this as a fillable document, couldn't we? So we could use it digitally.
Absolutely. And so when I send this out in email, I'll show you what it looks like actually real quick, just so everybody sees it. When you get it in email, it'll actually come in as a Word document. And it will look like this. As soon as you open it, if you go up here, open with, and you hit Google Docs, you'll have it saved in your Google Docs forever once you open it Google Docs.
Great.
So you'll never lose it once it's in your Google Docs. If you ever want to find it again, open your tab, this little 9 dots here. Has your drive, your Google Drive, or your Docs account. If you click Docs, this is where they'll be setting when you want to find them next time. Seller's checklist, buyer's checklist, and if you end up needing to search for it, buyer checklist, you can search for it and find it every time. So you'll have it in your Google Docs. Title commitments, inspections, appraisals, closings, and post closings. Checklist pretty straightforward, but I would say pretty comprehensive. I mean, it includes all of the smaller elements and the larger elements. I'd go through this in detail. Like Cece said, this is something that can be tailored to you. Maybe you like sending out a handwritten thank you card as part of your contract process. Maybe it's you like setting up your e-property watch after the closing for your buyers. Whatever it is that you do individually or independently, this is kind of your doc to manipulate. Under here, I went and included all of the actual templates. So here's the templates that you'll find once under contract, once inspection is scheduled, once the title work is received, appraisal notification, 15 days before closing, as soon as closing is scheduled, 1 day before closing, and then 2 weeks after closing are all here.
This is amazing. Thank you. That's a lot of work you guys have put in.
Thank you, Cece.
So just like we said, though, what was that?
I said that was very nice. Grateful for everything she's done.
But let's be honest, Brittany did this selfishly. She wants her
I
job
did-
to be easier.
I did it a long time ago when I had 5 deals under contract, and I was like, I feel like I got like 3 under contract in 1 week, and I'm like, they're all the same. I need to tell everybody the same stuff. So I just basically made this.
And use the emails that you had sent in the past.
Right. Like, okay, I'm kind of
Mm.
telling everybody we need to be doing the same thing right now.
Right. Remember, this process doesn't change. What changes is the details within it. And so having these templates really does streamline your efforts. So you're not. What are you laughing about? What are you smiling so much? She's so stinky cute. Yeah, so these templates really just simplify your efforts and really make it a lot easier. The chances of us having 5 in 1 month, you don't get to pick it. It just kind of happens. Us having this for even just 1, or even, I'll be honest with you, sometimes it's quite a bit of a stretch between me and my buyers. I usually have listings and I rarely have buyers, to where, sometimes even I'm like, oh shoot, I better reference that buyer's checklist real quick. I kind of, or even having Britt sometimes review my offers. I'm like, hey, I wrote an offer. Can you review this real quick? So I think at least having these ensures that you don't miss anything. Let's see, you have a question. Hi there. He wanted me to let you know that we were on the meeting at her office. Hey everybody. We got Ashley, Haley, and Tashina on. Morning, guys.
Morning.
Morning. I'm going to share my screen again, and I will do buyer's checklist. Any questions or thoughts about the seller's checklist? I mean, it's 8 pages long, I think, so it's not like it's necessarily short, but what I would take the time to do is at least customize this to you, 6 pages. But realistically, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 different emails. Once they're tailored to you, they're done.
What the checklist also is, you know, when we get those cynical people that think we don't do anything and we don't earn our money, it's also a handy thing to say, well, look, you know what, I have to run off these checklists because there is just so much to do. These are the kinds of things that we do.
You know, so one thing that I think, you know, one thing that you're touching base on is something that I knew was important from the very beginning, and that's presenting value. If I can't present value, value can't be perceived. So I like where you're going with this, CC. I don't think we can overeducate, and even sharing this checklist with them also helps them kind of understand what we're going to be doing through the process. And a lot of this includes and incorporates them. Net sheet. Oh, I did get my net sheet. Okay, great. Oh, we did do the depersonalization and cleaning. Okay, great. Oh, they do have this photo scheduled. So this allows them also to really follow that process too. So this is not, and this is something you could put in your seller's presentation, your buyer's workbook, everything. Great point, Cece. Add that. Any other questions, thoughts on the seller's checklist and templates?
I'll just show an example of one of the, like, the templates.
I can right here.
So it's really
Well, let me
designed.
ask you this, Jared, is the microphone making any difference?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah, because usually when it was your other one, you would like fade out and I couldn't hear you for like extended periods of time, and then you'd come back up. Now you haven't faded out.
Okay.
Bobby got a new microphone. We got it hooked up finally. Yeah, so like Britt was saying, this is really, a lot of these are just designed with highlighted areas for us to complete. Here's the amount of earnest money you need to put in. Here's the title company and what day, what is the by time of day and the date. As far as it goes, the list of submitted needs to be, our objection items need to be submitted. Seller has a resolution deadline. So this is only just reaffirming all of the dates and deadlines that we have, but more so in layman's terms than them expecting to read and understand 20 pages, which they didn't read or understand. Any other thoughts, wishes, hopes on sellers? Buyers, same thing. Obviously a little bit shorter. As far as it goes, we only have a buyer under contract checklist, no pre-contract checklist, and it only includes elements as far as scheduling the inspection. Oh, we need to do almost like an exclusive, right?
Well, it's already under contract.
Already-
I hope it's already done.
And I hope you know at least that part.
Well, I have that part where it's like explaining the exclusive right and the definitions, but you didn't add that in here.
Well, it's a template. So
Okay.
so the template that she's mentioning right here is explaining the exclusive right to your client. So when you email your exclusive right out to them, Britt sends this. The exclusive right includes this. The definite working relationship means this. And here's some of the contract terms that I've included in your offer.
Great.
It also includes before we go under contract for your buyers. And then it also includes the email for the listing agent when you send over your offer. Hey, here's what we've included in our offer and why it's a great, you know, here's my goal. My goal is to make this smooth for all parties. I've been a realtor for over 10 years. And know how to get this to the closing. So make these all obviously customized to yours. Bob Hughes would say, I've been in this for 10 decades.
And some of them will say, I've been in this business since Tuesday.
Well, and
That's okay.
so that's the thing. So if that's the case, take that out. you know? So share what you want and don't share what you don't want, you know? I've been in the industry since '05. I've only been licensed since 2013, but I've been doing this and I've been in the industry since '05. I got done with school at the end of '06, did nothing with it for 6.5 years. So yes, I've been in the industry since '05.
My license has been in the industry.
Well, I bought a house. It makes you in the industry, I think, too.
Oh, okay.
Right. I took an investor seminar. I've been in the industry. So really all of the same things, all templated to where you can just swap out your details for that one. Inspection details, title docs and HOA delivery emails, ordering the appraisal emails. And a lot of these, just like we said, they're more just informative. Hey, we want to check in, make sure that you check with your lender to see that it was ordered. If they haven't ordered yet, make sure that you let them know we actually have a deadline that it has to be completed by. Here's one that Britt put together. It's a seller agent questionnaire for buyer. Hey, seller's agent, can you get your seller to provide us this information to make it easier for my buyer to transfer utilities, to set up their trash, internet service, or whatever specific to that particular property.
You
That's
have
good.
one in there that talks about following up with the lender at all? On either the buyer or the seller side?
As far as like a clear to close,
No, as far as what's going on with the loan.
no, there's not, and that's something that that's something that, you know, if that's something that you do each time, and I think Bobby's bringing up a good point. I mean, that's something that we should be doing throughout the process anyway. We all kind of, I think, fall through this in blind faith as opposed to good faith. But
Well, the last time you want to find out, I mean, you don't want to find out 2 days before closing that the lock is about to expire and the thing's not done and the thing's not in, or you know, and then I'm in a panic at the last minute because I didn't know that somebody had turned in a document, or,
right.
and I guess it wouldn't be that close to closing, but even if it was 4 or 5 days from closing and they don't have whatever.
Well, and so this is, for me, this is kind of that slippery slope, and Bobby's, you know, mentioning checking in and kind of keeping abreast to the actual buyer's ability to close, which I think is imperative. I mean, if we're kind of not hearing anything, it kind of gets a little scary, and especially if we ask the question, hey, how's it going? Do we have a clear to close? Or are we through underwriting and you get nothing?
Right. Are we gonna make trade guidelines?
Right. Are we even on track for closing? So yeah, I think that it's important to.
Well, you know, I guess I take it really seriously because I keep thinking of the seller, whether the seller is my client or someone else. I think you have packed up every single thing that you own, and you have everything except bare necessities in a box. And if this doesn't go through, you got to get it out of the box and get your house back straightened up so you can put it back on the market. I mean, all of these things are huge deals that we don't stop. Oftentimes in the industry, we don't stop to think about the enormity of this, because all our stuff stays right where it was, and I can still go get coffee in the morning, you know?
Right.
And somebody's packed everything they own because they think they're moving. Not going to be too impressed when at the last second they're not moving, and they got to cancel that truck and they got to get the stuff out of the box, and you know, I take it as a big deal. I want to know what's going on for both sides of the transaction, so nobody's in that mess.
I like it.
As you were. Did we lose you? Or is your microphone gone?
I'm typing.
Oh, typing. Okay.
Can you see me typing?
Oh,
So I just added to the checklist, lender inquiry. Where is the buyer in the process, and are we clear to close?
well, how about ahead of that? Are we things that are going on?
As far as, you know, even on the seller's checklist, I mean, look at this to see if we have
Because it may not occur to us on the seller's side that I should be checking to see how the buyer's loan's going. Because sometimes you find out some secret things,
Mm.
like they have a house to sell that they didn't mention.
Hey Jared, it's Haley.
Hey,
Sorry, question. I missed it. Where is this located within the Google Docs? Where do we locate this checklist?
it's not, I'll email it out to everybody and then I'll include it into the, our learning center on everybody's, dashboard.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll email it out so everybody will have it and then I'll include it in the learning center.
Should that be
Perfect.
after you're already under contract?
That'd be great, thanks.
Or you have an offer in hand?
I am adding this to the seller's checklist.
Do you want one other one that you could throw in there that's,
I do, Bobby. What do you think?
well, sometimes you have, sometimes you have a buyer that has either overpaid for a house or a house that you're not sure is going to appraise. And things are a little spooky on that.
Uh-huh.
I would want to check with the other agent to know when that, or request that I be told when that appraiser's coming, because I have learned a little backdoor secret that the appraiser must look at my comps. So they hate it when the agent gets involved because they have to consider my comps. It doesn't mean that they have to use them or that their opinion doesn't count, but they do have to
You would-
acknowledge them.
You want the right to share them with the appraiser.
Right. So if I'm on the buyer's side and I'm afraid this thing is a little bit on the hinky side, or it's really important to me that this come, because they don't have any more money, and if it doesn't appraise, we're screwed. I will attempt to influence the appraiser, and I will tell you that oftentimes I have. So I do it on both sides, whether as a listing agent, I'm safe because I am going to get notified when they're coming. But as the buyer's agent, if I already know that enough other agents are probably not going to do anything. So if I want this thing to come in at the appraised value and I'm concerned about it, then I will pull my own comps and make sure that that gets to the appraiser, because I know that he can't just throw them away. He has to consider my comps.
He or she.
Mhm.
Mm.
I
He
haven't
or-
seen them.
So Bobby, do you just share the comps with the listing agent, or how do you get them to the appraised?
You asked for the appraiser's info?
You're not allowed to talk to
I
me
ask for the appraiser's info,
as a buyer.
email, and I send it to them. Or I meet them at the house. If I know that they're going to be at the house appraising on Tuesday at 10, then I'm there Tuesday at 10, meeting the appraiser, who now becomes my new best friend, and I hand over my comps. I know they hate that. I mean, some of them like it because they're lazy and
They're
if
like, "Hey, thanks."
and
Right.
they don't have to do the work, then they'll just take the comps and use my comps. I mean, I've had that happen too. And other times they're actually enthusiastic about their job and they're going to do it anyway, but they have to consider my comps. So they have to take a look at my comps and say, why doesn't this match? So you'd have to defend that. So it gives me a right to
Dispute later if there's an issue.
if I have to, but hopefully I have, and I know that on occasions I have influenced the appraiser into getting my way, and my house appraises and my deal closes.
Right. So really what Bobby, you're not Bob.
You can call me Bob, a lot of people do.
Yeah, I'm gonna call you Bobby.
That's good.
What Bobby's mentioning though is this is almost in the instance where we're actually like wondering if the appraised value is actually going to come in at value. And this is kind of what we experienced in the 2021, 2020, even parts of 2022, when we were going $100,000 over asking price. You know, Bobby's trying to do whatever she can to ensure that those comps are being met. Are we still experiencing a competitive situation? Yes. Not like we were.
No, but this is, this is during, when this applies to you, you might have some that it's pretty obvious it's a condo and 6 of them are sold for just exactly this price. So it's really not too hard and there's no reason for me to go out of my way. But there are times that it's a unique property. It's downtown Denver and there's no comp that's quite like this one. Or this one has been over improved for the neighborhood and I need to make sure that I get that in or do my best, because the statistics were that about 20% of them don't appraise. And there are times when if it doesn't appraise, I'm doomed. I had one that didn't appraise and they didn't take into consideration that this had FHA approval on this condo, which added a huge amount of value because my buyer was an FHA buyer and there are no FHA condos virtually that are
Right.
available. So when I found one, it's like a bird's nest on the ground. And then for him to not appraise it was like, I'm gonna kill your ass. So
Just his ass.
no, I was gonna kill his whole self. And I had to go over his head and dispute it, and I got it through. But all I'm saying is, it comes up rarely, but I would put it on the checklist just to remind myself. So do I think I need to do that in this case?
So I did that on the appraisal checklist for buyer. I said questioning value, reach out to seller's agent to get appraiser's contact info, to share comps with appraiser directly.
Mhm.
Or show up the day of appraisal.
And I don't think many of us knew that they have to pay attention to our comps.
Mm-mm.
They're
Well-
required to do that.
And it's great to do this when your buyers have that appraisal gap coverage.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, if you have appraisal gap coverage in your contract, you're obviously concerned about it, or at least the seller's agent's concerned about it.
And the other one is, you can use this as showmanship as to look how much I do and other people don't.
That's exactly what CC was saying.
Usually an hour,
Right.
go over to the house, hand them the comps and get out. But it looks like I did more, and I did do more than probably virtually anybody else. So now do I look better? I do.
Always.
I didn't have to go there, but I did.
We already know you look better, Bobby.
Well, that makes some of this stuff up,
Right.
No, I don't.
So I'll even share one thing that I thought was pretty unique about Brits. Here's one of the examples. In the future, if you know any friends, neighbors, or coworkers who are looking to buy or sell, be sure to tell them about your experience working with me and call me with their phone number so I can help them right away. So she's even asking for referrals in her emails too.
That's great.
So I thought that was good. I mean, if you don't ask, and like she not only asked for the referral, but she even told them how to give me the referral. Like call and give me their number. Like, don't share my number, give me their number. So she's even not only asking for the referral, but giving them suggestions on how to get her the referrals. So I thought that was great. Comments, wishes, hopes about buyer's checklist. Any other thoughts, Bobby?
Well, of course, I haven't read the whole thing, so I don't know what's there or not, but it looks pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, I mean, and remember, this is a document that can go, once it's in your docs, you can manipulate it all you want. You can change it and tailor it just to you. I don't use this email. I wish I had this email. I wish that I included this. I need to add this to my checklist. I do this very particular thing, and I don't do this particular thing. So I think this is all customizable to you guys individually and independently.
Brilliant.
Well, and
Thank
it
you.
just reminds you, even things I assume that's on there just to stay in touch with buyers, or how often am I going to call them? And if you just reviewed your list once in a while, you'd say, oh yeah, I haven't called them in whatever my period of time is. And I think it would be important to let them know about how often do you call? When should you expect a call from me? So that if you think that I'm going to call you every day, I'm not. am I gonna call you every Wednesday, come hell or high water, whether anything has happened or not? Am I gonna call you twice a week, no matter what? Am I only gonna call you if something comes up? When should you expect to hear from me?
I'll be honest, I'm a texter every day. Every morning I wake up and I send them a text. Here's what we got today, or nothing's needed. Let me know if you need something. So every day, and the only time I don't is over the weekends. I do it on Friday and I say, hey, it's Friday. Let me know if you need anything before the weekend. See you Monday.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And I
but,
do-
and I think the advantage to that is you're letting people know what the expectations are. And so if they have different expectations, that's where you run into a problem. This guy thinks he should be contacted every day, and you've said, I'll contact you, and your deal is you contact twice a week. Now he feels left out because he didn't get what he thought he should be getting, or you contact every day, and I find that annoying. I just want you to call me when something happens. And I'm not saying that, Jared, that is annoying to somebody. I'm just saying that this is how we get off on the wrong track, is one guy's thinking one thing, I'm doing great, and the other guy thinks you're dropping the
Drop the
ball.
Right. Well, and so me personally, I view this really as communication hot potato. And that's why I said I do it first thing in the morning. If I've got somebody under contract, I throw it into their court every morning. And if they throw nothing back at me, guess what I have to do for them the rest of the day? Nothing. I'm not
And
in
I
trouble.
think you're probably right, and the text is easy and fast, so I
Hey,
probably
just checking in,
go
nothing to
that
do.
way.
Hey, checking in, there is something to do. And then I leave it at that. And if they don't get back to me, they don't ask questions, they don't do anything, I'm into the next day.
Hmm.
It allows me to like actually dedicate time to my day. And this is how I do it. I do it first thing in the morning with my contracts. And then I do like other things like stirring up new business, going out on appointments, doing other things. And then by the end of the day, my afternoon, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I check the emails, my texts and emails from that morning. Hey, getting back to you. Here's the answer to what you then shot to me.
Mhm.
So I definitely time block. I don't blend things a lot. I'll reach out to my people. I'll stir up new business, I'll work business, and then I'll reach back out to the follow-ups.
That's a productive way of doing it.
Well, I also don't like, I don't firefight. I don't like jump between things, and I don't get easily distracted. If you've ever been around me, my phone's on silent, right? Because if it rings, then I'm like, oh, hey, what is it? Or if it bing, oh, I got a text, let me look. Nope, I'm finishing my project. And then when I have dedicated time to pick up my phone, see who called and texted me, that's when I get back involved with my phone. So I definitely time block, and I don't firefight. I don't bounce between things. I definitely dedicate my time.
It's easy to miss things when you bounce around.
Yep, I would agree.
Mhm.
I would agree. And we have a lot of things. Remember, our day includes existing business, and 99% of our energy and effort needs to be finding future business.
Mhm.
And a lot of us get inundated with being in our business that we forget to work on our business. When we have one contract, we end up with not another contract for 90 to 180 days because we did nothing pre-contract, during contract, and post-contract. So that's where I think that dedicated time is important. But not only that, I think for me, daily communication is important, and I do it through text. I'm your best friend until we go under contract, and once we're under contract, and even for listing agents, I don't talk on the phone anymore. Like once we're under contract, like we don't need to talk. Like I don't have feelings about this. It is what it is.
Hmm.
But
I
that's
think
just me.
no, I think 95% of people prefer text is less intrusive. I don't have to go through all the niceties with you. I mean, people don't have time. It's unfortunate, really, but that's the way life is these days. You can look at it, think, do I need to answer that now? No, I don't. And I don't want to pick up the phone and talk to anybody unless I really have to. It's just like there's so much going on.
I already make enough phone calls in the day without making extra ones.
I think for an extrovert, I'm really antisocial.
I'm in
Maybe
the same
that's what
boat.
it is. I'm an antisocial extrovert.
Right.
A shot.
I am an extrovert. I just don't like anybody.
I love hanging out with people except for people.
Yes.
Except people annoy me.
Right.
I like that, Cece. I think we found the trouble.
Any comments, questions about buyer sellers checklist or the templates? They should be pretty straightforward. I would definitely take the time. Here's the thing is doing this now and doing it one time will save you how many hours in the future? So this might be a late night project that you complete tonight. It might be your first thing tomorrow morning kind of project, but if you just get it done, it's done. You don't have to
Brilliant.
think
Yeah.
about it. You don't have to revisit it. You just have it done.
I love working with you
Yeah.
guys. You do so much to empower us. Thank you.
Thank you, Cece. That was Kristen's idea. Thanks, Kristen.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you.
Hey, if you guys need anything, reach out, let us know. If you have comments, wishes, if you think something should be added or changed even to this particular element, definitely let us know. And also if you want us to do a training on anything particular, throw it out there. We'd love to do something that somebody wants to hear. Does anybody have anything that they want to do? Anything they want to hear about?
Okay, that's the end of the Tuesday meetings. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks.
We'll think about it. We'll
Right.
think about it. Thanks,
Well,
guys.
I get the rest of the year off on Tuesday, I guess.
Woo-hoo, me too.
Hey, thanks, guys. Have a
Thank you.
great day.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.